wanted to know if there's any discussion, additional changes.
Yeah, no, as far as I'm concerned, I didn't need anything added or deleted or changed.
Okay. I guess we'll do the vote again. Would you want to vote in favor of accepting the agenda?
I guess, does it technically really need a vote?
Well, we had a motion to accept it.
Okay, well, I'll second.
Aye.
All right. Are we good, Mark?
Yeah.
Okay.
Fill in the blanks.
You sure?
Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's go for it.
Good job, Mark.
Okay. All right. The minutes from May. Anybody have any comments? I do have one comment.
Two issues that I noted, or should note.
Go ahead, Larry.
The first one is, it looked like a combined minutes. There were two separate meetings, but what I saw in the last thing sent out was just May 24th, and it seemed like it combined the two separate meetings. Is that the way, is that as it should be?
There was another set of minutes sent around for our special meeting. Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, the minutes that I read were titled May 24th, but they also included the business from our 17th meeting, I thought.
That was a special meeting on the 17th. Or
I
there was-
believe what happened, Larry, is that it was sent in a PDF, so it was all the same. But if you look at the headers, one says page 1 of 1, and then there's another with a different header, and it says page 1 of 4.
That's fine, as long as they're clearly marked. I didn't see that, but I trust that that's the case. The only other thing I saw was that during the discussion of the land on Route 10 North Main Street, Christina had Christina's comment that there was roughly an acre of wetlands by a soil scientist, but I don't believe that was a soil scientist. I think it was just a surveyor who mentioned that. So I think that should be corrected just to say that the land surveyor I don't know if I can pull that.
It's 1, 2, line 3 under North Main Street, Route 10 North, gravel pit. You would like that changed from soil scientist to surveyor.
Well, I believe, technically speaking, it was the surveyor and not a duly noted soil scientist who identified the wetlands.
Anybody have any comments on that?
You don't know that. I mean, how do you know? What makes you feel that way, Larry? Did you talk with someone?
Well, actually, because I was going to get into that under our agenda later on. I spoke with the surveyor.
Okay.
The surveyor was Meridian Associates from Hooksett, and Spencer, somebody or other, was the surveyor, and he is in fact a surveyor, as say Cliff Richard is. I think surveyors can make comments about what look like wetlands, but it just technically speaking, they're not soil scientists and haven't.
As long as it's, I feel comfortable as long as you
haven't the
know.
credential to be, to go with that.
So you recall the
statement.
you recall the conversation saying it was a surveyor and not a soil scientist.
So I think we should just amend that to rather say soil scientist by the surveyor.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just a minor change.
Noted.
And I had one other item on the page 3, the final paragraph, surveyed land for community center.
Correct.
There were 3 people that went out. Myself, Larry Shizzle, and Gunter Hubert went at a different time.
Yep.
So we just add Dr. Shizzle to that, Maura.
And
When did you do
well,
that?
and I will put Mr. Hubert went out at a different time, therefore there will not be a quorum.
Right, they were only, and you guys went out too, didn't you?
I know that.
You know the area, yeah.
When did you go?
What date was that? I don't know. We lost Larry.
I think that if you go out and do stuff like that, I think you should somehow tell the group that you're going. No?
I think I emailed everybody about it.
About that
Right,
particular?
but I don't know that I said let's all go.
No,
But I
no.
did email everybody about it.
Okay, okay, as long as there's a
I think I
notification.
sent an email to you guys, or at least
I don't-
Penny.
I don't know.
Remember.
Well, I went May 18th,
Okay.
and I've got my pictures here.
I just
Somebody
think,
needs to see 'em.
I just think when you're doing conservation business, that everyone should know what you're doing, you know?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Right. I'm pretty sure I did send an email.
Okay.
to you, but
Okay,
I can
good.
send you a copy of it when
Okay, no, it's
I
okay.
get home.
No,
Okay.
that's fine.
All right. So do we have a motion to accept the item or the minutes as agenda? As, yeah,
I'll make a motion.
as corrected?
Make a motion as corrected.
Any second?
Second.
Roll call.
Larry, you have any comments on the minutes?
No.
Beyond this? Okay. So we're taking a vote. I don't know if you're with us.
Yeah.
Okay. So all in favor of accepting?
Technically, if you're doing a Zoom vote, you have to pull the
Roll call.
roll call.
Okay,
Everybody has to announce their name.
Correct.
No, just say, you'll say Barry, I'll say yes.
Okay.
That's the new Zoom rules.
Oh, okay.
okay.
So, Dr. Sizzle,
Schissel, yay.
okay.
Linda, yes.
Yes.
Kenny, Don Shagan, yes.
Gunter Huber, yes.
Barry Connolly, yes.
All right. Seeing as that we have two guests here, even though they are under new business, does anybody have a problem with moving them up to the front? Okay.
No.
Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome. So we're here because we understand that you all have invited us to come and give you a bit of an overview as to what is about to transpire at what we refer to as the dog park and
Thank
the
you.
community garden. And so Allison spent a good portion of the
Thank
day
you.
putting together this handout for you. Did a great job putting it all together. So it should speak for itself. So we're here sort of to answer any questions you have, but I'll give you a quick overview.
Okay.
The town, a couple of years ago, applied for and received a grant. I don't have the exact number, but on the order of about 30. Actually, no, it's one that $60,000 for the purposes of building a community garden and a dog park. And between COVID, materials, manpower shortages, and so on and so forth, we've been experiencing some delays in actually getting the project done. But we're now getting to the point, in fact, we just met with our engineer today, we're going to, this summer, the project will be completed. And in preparation for that, the town has applied for all the state permits and received them. And as an overview, it's about, the community garden will be roughly 100 by 150. The dog park will be roughly the same size. They'll be fenced in with what we call, what's the phrase? Anyway, it's a wire fence with wooden posts and probably wooden top rails. Reasonably attractive. There's some photographs of some of the different type of fencing we're looking at in the package that Allison handed out. There'll be rule signs on each facility, and there'll be one sign that there's also a sample of in there announcing this is the location of the dog park and the community garden. When you go to wherever you're going to go, there'll be a signboard attached to the fencing, giving people the rules and procedures for using those facilities. The dog park is small. Some dog parks, depending on where you go, can be acres. But, it's a small downtown. It was intended to be sort of an opportunity and amenity for people who are living downtown, don't drive a lot, have small dogs, small, medium dogs. So it's really up to them, but it's pretty much scaled for smaller dogs, although we won't limit any dogs. The fencing, as you see it, the kind of the flavor of the fencing that we're looking for, we haven't settled on the exact fence yet because one of the companies that we were dealing with has gone out of business. Everyone is saying, yeah, sure, we'll come and see you in the fall, but don't expect anything out of us this year because they're understaffed and overbooked and all that sort of stuff. So the site has been permitted and it has been, what I would say, grubbed, or it's been cut down. There's some photographs there of the after effects. The shrubbery has been mowed down. And in the next few weeks, we'll be having somebody come in and remove some of the small stumps. There's not any real big-sized trees that have been removed. In fact, we've gone out of our way to preserve trees that are 2 or 3 inches in caliber or larger. We want those trees to be there.
Yeah, that's great.
So they'll go in and they'll get rid of the little stubby kind of undergrowth to try to discourage that from coming back. And then we'll put in mulch in the approximate shape and size of the respective parks, if you will, or enclosures. And then fencing contractor will come in and fence those in. There'll be gates, there'll be service gates in each one for pickup truck to come in and do whatever kind of maintenance. There'll also be pedestrian, person gates for them to use on a daily basis. We're going to put a water source in. That's a seasonal kind of thing that we turn on and turn off, with the seasons.
Town water?
Yeah. And let's see, the dog park folks, there's a little club here in town that's forming. They have pledged to be the ones to maintain it and come down and make sure it's clean. We'll have benches, there'll be trash receptacles, there'll be waste dispensers down there for dog waste to pick up and dispose of, all recyclable type of bags. And we're working with the dollar store down there to get, they've already agreed to it verbally, to get an arrangement to allow us to use the easternmost side of their parking lot out back, which nobody ever uses. It's kind of faded. So we've agreed to sweep that and restripe it in exchange for them allowing us to use it. If they ever change their mind and decide they don't want us to use it, we'll have another access and parking down. The town owns land out a little further down that we would then use as the primary. But this one's a little bit more direct, so people would enjoy that. I think it's a little easier for them to. It's directly adjacent to the proposed parks, so it makes sense to have that there for as long as the folks there are willing to give it to us. And they were very supportive because they figure there'll be 8 or 10 people a day that'll come in there and go next door and buy soda at their place and do their thing. So that's kind of an overview.
As part of the rules,
Sorry, Kenny did have his hand up.
So both of these areas are going to be on the advanced auto side?
They will be east of, there's a transmission, yes.
So it's both, they're both, and so what's in front? The dog park in front? And the
garden is first. And then the dog is in the back.
Is it right up against the sidewalk?
No. In fact, we pushed it back. I can't tell you off the top of my head how far, but we pushed it back so if you drive by, you're going to see pretty much what you see now.
Oh, no.
It's probably, what is that? Probably 100 feet back from the road. And so the front of the garden will be visible. And then there's a drainage ravine, and then the dog park would be behind that. So the chances of you seeing the park, you certainly wouldn't see it from a car. If you were walking on the sidewalk and you looked, if you were walking on the sidewalk and you looked, you would say, oh, yeah, I can see some dogs running around back there. That's in the back, and it was for a couple of reasons. One, because we thought it would be nice to have the garden out front, so if people have flowering gardens, that would be nice for people to see as they drove by. And the other reason was if a dog somehow jumps a 5-foot fence, that it's not right there. Next stop is John Stark Highway.
Makes sense.
There's a little bit of a chance to.
So how are you going to maintain the public garden? How is,
So the garden spaces, we have 20 raised garden beds already purchased. Those will be installed after the mulch goes in. Those will be signed up for. We have a certain set of protocols, so there'll be a sign down there saying if you want to use this, go to the town office and get an annual kind of use permit or whatever it is. And, I would propose, it'd be up to the select board to perhaps confirm it, but we would propose, a $5 charge just to have a permit. And so you would get the,
That's real cheap too.
That is
yeah,
cheap. Yeah.
I'm not, don't hold me to the $5 because maybe we'll suggest 10 and let you cut us down to 5. But there'll be a little bit of a process to get a use permit for one of the raised beds. So that raised bed will be yours for the season, and you'll use it. And there'll be trash receptacles down there. So our crew, our public works and buildings and grounds guys in the spring will go down and get it ready, and then they'll go down in the fall and close it down for the winter. But in the meantime, we expect that folks will be kind of self-policing and take care of things on their own. We'll see how that goes. There's always an exception that somebody doesn't want to play along and doesn't do what they're supposed to do.
And there have been some volunteers to reach out saying that they would like to start a garden club, so that could be a nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm sorry. Marty, did you mute Larry? Yeah. Can he hear us? You think?
He can hear us.
I'm here.
Larry, if you have a comment, you're being muted because we can hear a lot of background noise.
He undid it.
Yeah, and I'm sorry about that. I'm muting from my end now,
Oh,
too.
you are? Okay.
Except when I need to talk.
Okay, thank you.
So, these are intended to be small amenities for the local, the neighborhood residents. I mean, that doesn't mean somebody from out on the other side of town can't do it. The design concept, the scale, is intended for people who can walk down there.
Who don't have their own property to do.
Yes, right. Small, more densely populated areas in town.
Harry, sorry.
Yeah, Hunter, just a couple of questions to either one who wants to answer it. First of all, as part of the rules, is there going to be an expectation for the people using the park to police the mess that the dogs make, pick it up, put it in a green bag? And,
Yep.
Okay, because that was one of the things that bothered me. I don't think we want to have a town crew down there shoveling dogs.
No, so there will be a rule that will require you as the property owner to police your dog for its behavior and to clean up after it. Then we have the dog park committee who has agreed to go down and kind of oversee that and police that rule. So there'll be one layer is the owner, the second layer is the dog park committee. And we'll see how that goes. I mean, these kind of, it's like a chain is only as strong as its weakest link. I did one park before, and I was a little leery about how well it would work, and 10 years later, still going fine. And
A little brown, but
the committees are pretty effective because they're dog people too, and they're like, hey, come on, you got to clean up after your dog. And it's been reasonably successful. Will there be hiccups and people that are just going to be annoying? Yes, no doubt.
what is the liability to the town?
Yeah, exactly.
In regards to that. I mean, I went to a dog park out in San Diego, and dogs were fighting with one another, and I just hope we don't have any liability for that.
So I've actually heard of a worst case in which one situation where an off-duty police officer had his dog down at the park, and his dog got in a fight with another dog, so he took his gun out and shot and killed the dog.
Yeah.
So those things do happen. The rules will state you are responsible for keeping your dog under control. But we've been in touch with Primex, and both of these are activities that are customary for municipalities, and as such, they will be covered by municipal liability.
Oh, okay.
If we were doing something bizarre, I can't think of anything at the moment, but
I got 2 or 3 I can know.
but these kind of activities, dog parks and community gardens, are typical for municipal functions, and so they are included in our coverage, our liability coverage.
I like the community garden aspect. I think
Absolutely.
that can be a big deal.
Now, one of the cool things about this that I think is, you give this a run for a couple of years, and all of a sudden you find out that the community garden isn't working. Pull the fence up.
Yeah.
The mulch is there. Let it revegetate, and off you go. There's not a lot of reconstruction or undoing that has to happen.
Excellent. Kenny, did you have something that you wanted?
I'm
No,
not-
with
I'm
the
not-
I was after the liability.
I'm sorry, he raised his hand, but I guess you answered it, or you asked the question, Barry, so Linda, go ahead, please.
A couple of questions. The trees that you have shown on page, 4, the landscaping, what are they?
So that is a concept plan. Those trees may or may not actually be planted. Because those are, I don't remember the date on that particular plan, but that's probably a couple of years old. So we assumed at that point there would be no trees. And so we have found that there are trees down there that we can keep, that are natural, that are there already. So we may not have to plant those trees. So we're going to wait and see how things kind of fill in.
I want to encourage natives and not the
Of course.
Norwegian maple.
Sure.
No Norwegian maple.
No, they're invasive and not native to the area.
Okay.
But certainly, we're aware of that.
What is your buffer to the river?
I think that there's an overview there, and I don't recall that.
So all the trees that are pictured on the last page, those are all part of the buffer to the river?
Everything that, we have only cleared the area that is outside of the buffer. Everything that is still there today is within the buffer. We cannot go any closer to the river
Okay, good.
than we presently
Okay.
are.
Really hard to see.
Yeah.
This might be better, a better layout for you to see the whole plan.
Okay.
So the plan actually, when we locate the fencing, we're going to leave a path around the outside of the fence so that we can go through periodically and brush hog or cut back any vegetation that might grow outside the fence. And we have not cut back any trees or vegetation inside the buffer. So the trees and vegetation that are there today
Good.
will not go away.
Okay.
Excellent. Yeah.
We're not going to go any closer to the river than we are.
Good. All right. That was my major concern.
Excellent. Any other questions, Larry? You got any questions?
No questions, thank you.
All right. Anybody else?
I'll just, if I can, Mr. Chairman, I'll just
Absolutely.
close by saying this is entirely non-taxpayer funded, so there are no tax implications for the development of this site. It's all funded by PetSafe,
Yeah.
PetSafe and AARP, as a matter of fact. AARP is funding a chunk of this. And they feel it's a good place for people to go. And my experience with it, as limited as it may be, in the last dog park I did, it became really apparent that this is not for the dogs. It's for the dog owners. People
Social,
go down there,
social.
they cut the dog loose, they sit down next to their neighbors that they seldom see, and they talk about their dogs, and they talk about their kids, and they talk about this, and it's a social opportunity for people who have common interests. Same with the garden. They might enjoy growing their own vegetables, but it's like an opportunity to see your neighbor, say, hey, how you doing? How are your cucumbers doing? I tried this and I tried that, and it's that interaction between people that we're really trying to facilitate as part of that community's sense of community.
Yep.
So on a small scale, I get, but it's
No,
really
it's great. I think it's great.
Good.
Linda did have a suggestion at one point about the compost from the leaves that the town collects being made available for people.
I think so. Well,
Was
For
that your comment, Linda? If I
Yes.
remember
For
correctly?
what purpose?
well, town composting
Oh, not related to this project, but as in general, composting.
in general, but it would afford people who do gardens, which
Yeah,
would
yeah.
be
No, I see
community
your
garden, and
I hadn't thought about that. That's a good thought. We'll see if we can integrate that into the plan.
Well, I think it's
Because you're gonna have
it's hard to do.
bring in loam and all of that anyway, so
right.
you
But-
compost.
A community composting is not an easy thing. So
No, it's a science to it.
Yeah.
For sure.
But
Yeah.
it sounded like from some prior conversations that the town is already composting the leaves that are brought to it?
We do up at the wastewater treatment plant. They don't.
They don't do it the way it
it's supposed
needs
to.
to be done.
Yeah.
Not
But
true
they do-
compost.
but
Yeah.
they do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
And
kind
what-
of happens by circumstance, not
Yeah.
by design.
Okay.
But
If
it's
you're there long enough, it kind of
just piled up. Yeah.
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 You're
Yeah.
literally supposed to make rows and you're supposed to rotate it
Yeah.
Every
Right,
so
you got to
often.
aerate it.
You
Now,
gotta
we
aerate it.
do that. We do that with the solid waste from the wastewater treatment plant, but we don't do it with the compost. It's the same principle, really. When they take the material out of the wastewater treatment plant process, it's put outside in drying bins, and it's rotated on a periodic basis for the same kind of aerobic benefit.
And who uses that?
Um,
Farmers or?
The
No.
garden committee guy.
yeah. No, most of that gets trucked off and disposed because of the
It's, yeah, it has
the oversight.
You know,
The oversight to that
you know what's in there.
is getting worse and worse. Years ago in my career, I can remember it used to be easily spread land applied at farmers, and you'd have people lining up to get it. And over the years, it get smaller and smaller, and fewer. There's fears about contaminants, and the regulations.
and,
The regulations from the state have gotten higher and higher. So, and then of course, then the price goes up to truck it and to spread it, and I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but it's getting less and less popular. Fewer and fewer places that take it and want to do it.
I think leaf mulch is a common soil amendment
Yeah.
for gardeners.
Yeah.
So if there's any, I don't know what we can do about it, but
So what we could
Something to
do
think of.
in that regard is we could put a note someplace saying people who are interested in mulch, we could direct them to our pile up at wastewater treatment plant, and they could go up there and gather or get whatever they want, and bring it down to the site. Or
Well, we'd like
We
to,
might-
we'd
might
like,
have
I would like to
someplace
talk
on.
as a group about having it available for
Yeah.
everyone. As
Yeah.
well as, we gotta do something about brush.
yeah,
And,
that's a problem.
It is.
It should be a common area.
Yeah.
And that could be a common area.
It
But-
could be.
So we
the
still,
folks down there that aren't.
we still need to discuss.
Yeah, it's for the folks that are down there that don't, kind of by design, don't have a lot of ability to walk or drive places far away. It could be done there. We could bring a product down there, like once every spring, we could bring down a heap for people to use to augment what they're doing in their gardens.
right.
And I think there's an opportunity at Public Works to bring in brush. The problem with it is it has to, we have to maintain the brush. And believe me, I'm 110% behind the concept. Problem is that 99 out of 100 people play by the rules, and somebody comes along and throws something in the pile they shouldn't.
That's why I got stopped the last time.
Yeah, and it ruins the whole pile. It contaminates the whole pile. Because we could easily take a brush pile down there, and then you get commercial people that say, well, I want to bring my brush down there, and you get a tractor trailer load. And you're not really set up for that. You're really only set up for the homeowner who wants to trim some stuff in their yard.
Well, that's what you say, and that's what it is, so
Yeah,
it's
so,
not
Yeah, Larry,
commercial.
Larry
Yeah.
has a comment. Sorry. Larry, are you there?
Yeah, hi. I was going to just say that all dovetails pretty much with the issue that the abutters up on Swan Street had, and I had talked to Todd Cartier briefly, and he was open to the idea that people might be able to get composted, that might be some. So I support the fact that maybe this is something we can move towards. Taking in leaves, composting, and returning to people who are interested in the spring.
so if we had like an interested party, a club, commission, that might be willing to adopt this kind of a program and help police it and regulate it, I use that word lightly, I'm sure that we could develop a program at Public Works or someplace appropriate where we could do stuff like that.
As I said, we've briefly touched on some things, and
Yeah.
some of the comments you've just made, I've made
Yeah.
from being around here, so.
We even cut enough of our own stuff so that we need a
Exactly.
place to put it. So it's
Because we
not a
use-
big deal.
So
We
you'd be, I'm really interested in bringing back the brush pile, because I've got so much stuff in my woods that I've put there because there's no place to go.
Right, right. And that's not good for the woods.
Not good for me because I follow.
Well, there's another element of this. People get frustrated with it, and then they say, you know something, I'm just going to burn that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you have air pollution issue, and then you also have the fire risk.
Right.
And so it makes sense. But if we can just somehow control it,
Well,
then that's the key, I think, is figuring out how to keep a tractor trailer from backing up. It's an over-exaggeration, but commercial load.
Right.
And dumping who knows what in there, you know?
Well, that's what I said. It needs to be policed. We need to have further discussion before we.
Yeah. We can come up with a plan. You guys can help us come up with a policy and a program. And then we'll figure out how to implement it. But
I mean, unless you want to stay till, say, 9:30 and get it all hashed out tonight.
Well, I got another meeting tomorrow in about 12 hours.
So
We have other business to
I've been asked to
address.
directed to do that.
Yeah.
I've got
Unless you're
one.
going to direct me to do something else.
No, I've got one hang-up, and I might not be able to be there, but I think I'm going to take care of it, because I feel like I need to be there, even though we appointed to. I need to be there.
Yeah, okay.
sounds good.
All right, well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Appreciate
We're
your
thrilled to
coming.
take that on if you want to help us with it.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll discuss it.
Yeah.
Oh, one more.
Yeah, because, to get you to a meeting has been a little difficult, so. What's the plan on the common? Where are we at with
Yeah.
phase what, with tree
Yeah, that's a good idea.
removal? And we were supposed to come back in the fall and the
As
spring.
to your first question, I'm happy to meet with you upon request. I got an invitation a couple, 3 weeks ago. That was the first one I'm aware of.
No, I'm just, that was me being me. Because you got enough meetings, all right? If I got to clarify myself, you got enough meetings to have to come.
Again, you're mild compared to what we do face it.
So I just want to, for the record,
I can
I'm happy to meet with you at any time. So
Good.
on your second
That's good.
question, so let's see, I got to switch, my brain, the little computer doesn't
Common.
switch gears as quickly.
Yeah, where we
On the
are.
common. Yeah, the first year, we went in and did a lot of pruning of the common, as well as partway down Main Street, along the median. The second year,
We were supposed to come back and do some plantings and
Yeah,
then some
the second-
fertilization in the fall.
Yeah,
So
the second year, we came and did the plantings of the new trees. They seem to be doing well.
They look good.
It's a little bit of a crapshoot with trees, and sometimes they're dead and they don't look dead, but they're in the process of dying, but I'm crossing my fingers. They all seem to be healthy. You're correct. Gallagher was supposed to come back and do some, what I call injection fertilizing. They did not do that, to my knowledge.
no, they should be coming up this fall.
Right.
But I thought there was plantings. We still have plantings that were supposed to be done this spring.
Where?
We still had, I thought there was still 3 or 4 more trees that we were going to remove.
I have to go back and look
replant.
at their proposals, which are actually on my conference desk, I think. But I thought this year they were just coming back to do fertilizing. You may be right.
No,
Maybe there's a couple of other trees that they were
There's
taking
3
out
trees on Park Street
that need to go, yeah.
that need to go,
Okay.
and we were going to replant. So
Yeah,
I just
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'd have
check into that.
My memory is somewhat faulty. I'd have to go and look at it. But there is something planned for this year, and it's in their proposals, and it's on my desk.
I just didn't know if they were running behind or.
No, I haven't heard
We
from
didn't
them,
get-
actually. I haven't heard from them since last fall. I understand that, I shouldn't perhaps say this, but I understand that they had some distractions to attend to that were non-business related.
Well, we could just,
And,
I know there was some more removal that needed to be done, and I know there needed to be some more plantings.
I believe you're correct, and I believe that that's scheduled for the fall, but I have to go up and get the list. But I know there are 3 steps, and 2 out of the 3 are done. I just don't recall as to what's on the 3rd step.
We are going to be talking later about the NRI, but do you have any comments or concerns?
No, I think it's all signed, ready to go. We have earmarked funding for that in this year's budget, so you guys are, go forward and flourish and whatever.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Do your thing.
Yeah.
That's all signed.
Appreciate your help with that.
Yeah, no sweat. That's what we're here for.
Larry?
Yeah, with regard to the comment too, one suggestion about the soil was periodic aeration.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't recall.
And there has also been some ideas out there about how compaction of the soil is going to be mitigated. And there was talk about, restrictions placed on people, parking.
This year, we're leaving where it was.
Vans that unload for farmers market or for the periodic fairs, etc. Is there any plan for soil aeration?
I don't recall the list, I can go and check that. And parking is kind of status quo.
Yeah, parking will remain the way it was. We had a long discussion about that. A lot of different issues came up, and, you know,
Curbing.
It's up to the select
Curbing
board. is
on
what it
Pond-
was.
we're gonna just leave it the way it is right now.
Curbing on Pond Street. It would help with the runoff onto the tree line. There's a lot
Don't
of,
disagree with you on that at
there's a
all.
lot of, there's a
This
lot of-
year, for our own sanity, we're gonna leave it the way it is this year.
Oh, come on.
It's been kicked around a lot
Jeez.
at the select board meetings.
Yeah.
I've seen some of them.
To answer Larry, I know you don't have a crew, but we had a plugger that we used to roll on the common
Yeah.
once or twice a year, so
Yep.
I don't know if it's still there.
I think we do have it. Somebody mentioned it to me, because I was talking about that for turf maintenance purposes, not so much for the trees. And somebody said, oh yeah, we got an aerator. I said, yeah, well, how come the town never uses it? So,
Well, I believe we were told that aeration could mitigate some of the problems with compaction, and that it should
Well,
be done
yeah,
here.
it was on the proposal. Yeah.
But we didn't go there. Yeah,
No. Well, sounds like Hunter's planning
Good.
on revisiting that. So,
okay.
In spare time.
in his spare time.
something like that. What's it called? Spare time?
Sleep.
Precious, that's a precious commodity.
It's called NO.
Sometimes-
And that's what we did with
Thank
the...
you.
Well signed.
Alright,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No, we're all set.
Is there any other topic? Happy to.
Not
Okay.
right now. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
I'll try to
thank
get
you.
there tomorrow.
Okay. If I get there and you're not, I'll make apologies for you. But just let me know. You
Supposed to go to
may-
Massachusetts.
Okay. All right, and you got my emails today on all those topics.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, thank you all. Have a nice
Yeah,
night.
Thank you. You too.
Take care.
NRA
Let's see.
update.
NRI update. Well, I think everybody knows what's going on with that.
Yep.
There's nothing to report other than, well, after Hunter's email with the signed contract, and I want to thank Barry very much for going to bat for us with the town manager and with the other select board
Good.
members.
What are selectmen's supposed to do?
Thank you very much.
That's good. That's excellent.
Yeah, we
Instead of
wouldn't
going to a
we
meeting
wouldn't
and
have
getting
gotten it without
yelled
your
at.
we wouldn't have gotten it without your help. So thank you very much. The Raymond Holden easement. I don't know if everybody recalls where that was left.
Up in the air.
Yeah. So the reason I wanted to talk about it was because Charlotte had made a recommendation in her email. Hopefully everybody's had a chance to read her email. She sent it on May 30. Gave us the history of that easement, how it evolved, and more than likely I think the only issue is the LCIP's name, or the acronym for it, is in that easement when it shouldn't be.
Huh.
Sounds to me like the town decided to just put it in there, and those that were running the show at the time, and they're recommending, the state is recommending that we get it out of there.
Yeah, because they want.
Yeah. Well, I don't think they are liable.
Well,
There's
in that sense-
no
in that sense-
documentation that
In the sense
shows
of
that
the
they are.
paperwork and checking up on it.
I think the biggest issue in my mind would be confusion on the part of future generations.
Yeah.
I guess the question is, does the town want to engage in that process, getting that changed? It sounds like it would require, she suggested we speak to the
Legal?
charitable trust units at the Department of Justice. She gave us a couple of names there. Sounds like we might need legal counsel on the matter. Is it worth it? And I would have to defer to the select board.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Barry, but I know you don't represent the entire select.
No, I'm here as a citizen.
Okay.
But, I mean, we can take a look at it. I mean, Our lawyer bills are going right up again, so we might as well add it in there, too.
That's one more, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What do we need to do if we want to move that forward?
Come to a meeting.
Come to a meeting?
Yep,
Yeah,
come to a meeting.
okay. We will do that. Is everybody in favor of that approach? I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah, that's
Anybody
the way
has
you
any
have to do it,
comments?
because you have to
Talk
go
as
through
long
the
as you
steps.
want, because once other people get going, you may not get a chance.
I don't think I'm going to one of your meetings.
They're pretty contentious these days.
Yeah. Well,
Bulletproof vest on instead of one of these. I'd rather wear one of these.
All right, so we'll bring that up at one of the future select board meetings.
good.
Okay. I don't see any reason to, personally, I don't see any reason to mark the boundaries. I don't know if anybody else has any feelings on it. It's not an LCIP property, so we can't mark it with their,
No, we had discussed about, that's why we went to trying to do something for the
yeah.
It's conservation, it's conservation land.
It is,
Yeah.
right.
So,
I guess it's up to the town whether they want to spend the money to market. I mean, I imagine the members would, I guess we could talk about that at the select board meeting.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's important, things that you want town to do, come to the meeting, and you're representatives of a commission, so.
Okay. All right.
I think it's important to get it tagged.
all of the properties. that
Should be
we-
tagged. Yeah.
The only one at this point that hasn't been, at least to some degree, is the Wells easement. Because Yeomans, by the way, I noticed that Yeomans is logging some of his land. I don't know if you saw that, Larry.
No, I haven't.
Jerry Hagerbush must have decided to log it. I was unaware of that. I don't think anybody here was aware of it. I don't know that that contravenes anything in the deed, but I think we should look at it just to be on top of it.
Yeah.
The only reason I know is I was driving by and I like to look over and admire the
Yeah.
conservation land, and there's a big opening and there's a skidder back in there.
So
So
is that in the deed that they're
most of them have it, but I don't know.
without
Okay.
notification though?
I need to look in the deed. Yeah, it would have been nice when we were there last
Yeah.
fall
Right.
if he had said something to
Right.
us. Right.
Exactly.
I always get nervous with, I mean, we need loggers, but loggers sometimes don't clean up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just cut the tree and bang.
Yeah.
That's good and that's bad, like anything.
I know with our Barton deed, it requires that we do it according to the forest management plan.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't know about the other deeds. I have no idea. So, okay, so we can move on if that one's, we can lay that to rest.
Yeah.
Letters to the Barton easement abutters, follow-up. So we had, the last meeting we had discussed two letters. One was as a follow-up to the residents that attended the April meeting, and the other letter was to inform the abutters when we're going to go out and do an inspection.
I have some issues with the letter that was put around. Were two letters put around, or?
No, not that I'm
Okay.
aware of, Larry. You only sent
Yeah.
out one letter, right?
Yeah, to be honest, it was just a draft, so I was really
Okay.
I kind of dragged my feet getting it done.
Okay.
I wanted to get something out. I did send it out about a week ago, but the only comment I had gotten back before today was from Gunther. But I was looking for people to make editorial points so that we can get this right. The second letter was going to be just a kind of a form that we keep on file for when we go out, and I haven't put
Perfect.
that one.
Okay, good. Okay, Public Works Department should only be involved after us. I think the Conservation Commission needs to be notified, and then we will do the coordination with Public Works. I don't think that they should bring their concerns directly to Public Works. Public Works doesn't know anything about the Barton property or easements or anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, when we broached this topic, because Larry and I attended a select board meeting after that meeting, the April meeting.
Yeah.
And Hunter had said have them contact Public Works. That's the reason why it was written this way.
Well, public.
I'm not sure if we want to be in the middle or not. I don't really know.
Well, we're not in the middle. We're the ones responsible
For the land.
for the
We're
land.
responsible for making sure that the requirements of the deed are met.
Right.
That's right.
And Public
Yeah.
Works has no idea what those.
That would be cutting trees.
Yeah.
So the complaint would come to us. We would make a judgment or have to go out, look, contact Public Works. Public Works doesn't know anything about this.
It does put some liability on us, though, because if we look at it and we decide it shouldn't be cut, I mean, do we have the right to make that decision? And if we do make that decision, then that puts the onus on us if there's something that happens.
I don't
If it's
understand.
something that questionable, we'd have to go further and get a arbiter.
Maybe we should go out with Public Works.
Well, I just want to go back to what Barry just said 5 minutes ago. There's not good loggers out there. Well, there's not good Public Works people cutting trees down either.
No, it's
seriously.
true. I mean,
I mean, you're not, and then you get I'm just a situation where you got a friend, and I got a tree, cut it down. Okay, let's cut it down. They came to us and we cut it down. So we unfortunately need to be within the middle of this, if that's the way you want to say that.
I don't think we are in the middle of it. We are responsible for that boundary line. Not
We're
Public
responsible
Works.
for upholding the requirements of the deed.
Right.
the way
So
I
they
see
have
it.
to come to us
Right.
to be
Which
sure that
there's no cutting trees.
Oh, gosh.
it's not Public Works' responsibility. If a,
So it has
if,
to be cut within the requirements or whatever's in the forest management plan.
So
Exactly.
if we say it's going to come directly to us, who's the us that's going to come directly?
Yeah, exactly.
the commission.
Once a month? I'm just,
I don't see Public
at some
Works.
point, Public Works got to be involved. I mean, they're
Yeah.
going to go
Well,
out.
yeah, we would go to Public Works.
What if we said to Public Works, if you get concerns that are brought to you, you are to contact us or direct them to contact us?
Hasn't worked with PJ. We don't get any communication from PJ or Sam. I mean, you know, we're throwing the ball to somebody else. It's our responsibility. We know that line. Correct? We've walked it.
Yeah, we
We've
know it.
walked it. We know it. Public Works doesn't know it.
Like I said, I went out the day after and viewed the tree that she said was dead and hanging over the garage, and not a tree guy, but had leaves, and you know. So again, you call it Public Works, and they come out and yeah, the tree's hanging over your garage. We'll take it down.
Well, no.
That's a good point.
I mean, it goes back to what what's her name had told us, you know, in her correspondence that we're responsible for. I don't think we're adding any more work to ourselves. We probably have concerns of 5 residents, and only one had a concern about a tree. So I don't think we're opening ourselves up for.
Well, we can't make the decision, I don't think, whether or not it's healthy and whether or not it should come down.
Well,
Or
neither
be
can Public
trimmed.
Works.
Neither could Public Works.
So who is?
Well, then you'd have to get in Gallagher.
Get
I mean,
Gallagher? So the town has to
I mean,
pay Gallagher to come in, or
Or get
Arborist.
Charlotte here. Whatever. You know, I don't know.
yeah, I don't think Charlotte's going to want to make that decision.
Well,
'Cause
why
she's
not?
not an arborist. I mean, she's a land conservation. She's making sure that
I think you're making this much more difficult than it
Okay.
is, because Public Works doesn't know any more
So if they
than...
contact us and then we contact Public Works and
Correct.
we go out with Public Works.
Yeah. Yeah. Public Works isn't going to know whether they're not an
No,
arborist.
I understand what you're saying. They have excuse me, they have limitations, but I don't know. I would not want to tell them don't cut a tree and then have it fall down, or a branch or something like that. We would assume responsibility.
I think you're looking at the worst scenario. I think, again.
Well, I could see getting
I
in
went
that
out
situation.
I went out and the tree looked healthy to me. So do I come back as a group? If we went out there as a group in a forum,
Mhm.
a quorum, and we said, well, you know, we can't make that determination. So then we need to find somebody that makes that determination.
Well, if that tree falls now, we can blame you.
You can blame me all you want.
Thank you.
Okay, so Public Works was my next issue. And then then the next sentence, yard waste, is good. The next, dear abutters, second paragraph. The next sentence, it is permissible to return fallen leaves and branches to the Barton parcel if they originated there, but it's not likely practical to do this without simply dumping a pile, which is not consistent with the nature of the forest floor. That is opening yourselves up to plain old dumping. Nothing gets put onto the property, not a leaf, in my book.
Well, Charlotte said that if it came
I know what Charlotte
from
said.
trees on the... I'm just saying.
I know, but
She
Charlotte's
said
not
that.
here to make this
Right.
practical. And
So you're
those
saying that
people
nothing-
don't know what Charlotte
Okay,
said.
Okay, can we tone it down a little bit?
Well, I'm trying to talk over the noise, so.
Yeah. So it sounds like what you're suggesting is that we put in there, we eliminate any mention of them putting leaves, regardless of their origin, on the property.
Correct.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm breaking leaves, up there, I'm probably not going to say, well, that goes over there.
I
Yeah.
tend to agree.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that
And
leaf
it-
came from here, and that
yeah.
leaf came from there.
And it goes to the fact that we can, pile them up, put them in a bag, and then we got to make sure the town gets out and collects them. And make it easier for them to do that. That's a more practical approach. Because if I lived up there and I'm raking leaves, okay,
They
there
all,
goes.
they all came from
Yeah.
that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I watched some fall.
Larry?
Yeah, to be honest, I didn't really want to say that, but, we were told by Charlotte that, our leaves could, that our leaves could be brought back to the forest floor. I mean, we were just told that.
I think
Open
it's-
that up, boy, you're...
Yeah.
But I think Linda's right. It's the town's property.
I put in the letter, but I'm perfectly good, not happy not to open up that can of worms.
Great.
All right.
Good.
So let's
Great.
choose to eliminate it.
It is permissible to out. That whole sentence out.
Yeah.
I think we may want to say that it's not permissible to dump, yard waste and organic debris
We say
into
that,
the
don't
town woods.
we? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you said that in the sentence prior.
Yeah.
So, I'm trying to figure it out here. If we eliminate that, does that kind of just make the next sentence hang by itself? There's a program in town for collecting compost and leaves?
Yeah, that'll probably have to be reconfigured a little.
Yeah, Larry,
I'd like to see that left in there, because
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's
Right.
good.
Get that done.
Yeah.
Larry, you can massage the language for that, right?
Yeah, what I'd like to do, just because it would have been a lot easier to get some responses, with a little lead time and get them via email so I can incorporate, additions and deletions.
Yeah, well, I think whatever we approve as a group tonight should be submitted to you by email.
I think that'd be the easiest because I can just work on my laptop and rewrite from opening up the email, and it's a lot easier that way, yes.
Yeah. So I have to admit, Larry, I sent you an email with some suggested changes also today, just today. So.
Yeah, I was ankle deep in my own yard waste here in Dover, New Hampshire.
I just wanted to let you know, but I suppose we need to review them all the time.
I got a chance to read your email, but just probably about 5:30 tonight. So I suspect this will drag on another month, but I think we can do this, continue work via email to get this letter right.
Yeah, well, you're not a secretary. You shouldn't be expected to sit there and keep track. Should we take votes on these changes? And because I don't see any other way to do it.
If there's a consensus, then you don't need to. But if I can make a suggestion.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, first paragraph, fourth sentence, fifth sentence. The sentence, because the town accepted this grant, not we, but it.
That was one of my suggestions.
Okay.
Yeah. The town, not the Conservation Commission.
Correct.
Good point, thank you.
I also noted that the sentence prior to that referred to the Land and Community Heritage Investment Program. To the best of my knowledge, that program did not exist back in 1991. It was called the Land Conservation Investment Program, and it was changed to the LCHIP later on. So to be accurate, that needs to be changed, and I put that in my email.
Yeah, I read that. Thanks.
Okay. I also thought it would be worthwhile adding, I should have made copies of this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, the sixth sentence down in the first paragraph. I thought it would be apropos to add where it says by restrictions that were written into the property deed.
Mm-hmm.
Right prior to that, it says because the town accepted this grant, it agreed to abide by the restrictions that were written into the property deed. I thought it would be appropriate to add staff from the CLSP ensures that the restrictions contained in the deed are enforced. Because it's not just us, it's the state that also enforces those. If anybody has any comments on that.
Good point.
Following that, it says the deed specifies that there will be recreational use of the land. I read through it. I don't see anywhere where it says there will be. It says there can be or maybe.
Maybe. Yeah, I think it's better to put it that way.
So I made a note to change that.
Mm-hmm.
Going down several sentences, it says New Hampshire Snowmobiling Association has a trail which cuts through the forest. People are free to walk off the trail. I wanted to make a note. The deed says the deed makes provisions for snowmobiles only on the property. No other, and it says with town, not with town approval. Let me read it so everybody's aware of what I'm referring to. In the deed, it says, there is also hereby conveyed access to and on and across the property on or with snowmobiles. Such usage, however, to be subject to rules and regulation formulated and adopted by the town of Newport. I don't know if anybody knows of any rules and regulations that have been adopted by the town. But essentially, it's that I read that as being with town approval. So my suggestion is to add that the deed allows for the use of snowmobiles on the property with town approval, in parentheses, but no other form of motorized transportation is allowed. Because Charlotte made that loud and clear in her email that motorized transportation is not allowed. I just had 2 more suggestions. Well,
Was it motorized or was it wheeled vehicles? Wheeled.
she says passive transportation is the only form allowed.
So
And
that's bicycles?
I can read the deed.
So bicycles are allowed?
Not if they haven't been approved.
There is hereby conveyed pedestrian access to, on, and across the property for hunting and transitory passive recreational purposes by members of the general public. Such purpose is not to include camping except by express written permission of the town of Newport. The property may be posted against such access or otherwise restricted by the grantee in the public interest. There is also hereby conveyed access to, and that goes on about the snowmobiles. And Charlotte cited that in her email and said transitory passive recreational purposes does not include motorized vehicles. Whether or not it allows for wheeled vehicles, I couldn't tell you that.
We have competitions in the forest on wheeled vehicles.
Motorized wheel vehicles, or just the bikes?
Nowadays,
Bikes,
you could
Yeah,
end up having a bicycle with a motor,
yeah, you could.
and that's
Hey, these days, right?
that's
an
a new,
e-bike.
Yeah.
that's a new can of worms.
E-bikes now.
Right.
Charlotte was made acutely aware of the 2 activities that go on largely through the rec department. One is the mountain biking, and one is the, of course, this is in the town forest, not in the Barton property, but the frisbee golf or whatever they call it.
Disc golf.
Disc golf, thank you. Yeah, and she was made aware of those, and she had no issue with it. She took no exception to those activities.
In the forest, but not in the Barton property
No, we just talked about throughout the area.
in general.
We didn't specify in the forest or on the Barton property. So I don't know. I'm not
I
sure
don't
what to
think there are
do.
any holes, golf holes, going about.
There aren't. No. The only
That's
restriction.
used a lot, by the way.
Yeah, it's well known in the area. This places restrictions on the town forest, but it's very limited. So I don't know that we have a lot of say of what goes on in the town forest, with the exception, it says by its acceptance of the within conveyance, the town covenants and agrees that the tract or parcel abutting the property, meaning the Barton property, and known as the town forest, shall be kept as town forest land forever by the town and shall never be subdivided or used for commercial purposes by private interests. So that doesn't say you can't have recreational disc golf in the town forest.
Is the rec camp that he's gonna do right off, overnight camp, is that,
That would need to be
yeah,
permitted.
it's gotta be permitted, isn't it? So, is it in the town forest? We don't,
Yeah, Pinnacle's in
Yeah.
Barton.
so, but we better let him know, better ask permission,
Yeah, it says that camping is allowed with permission.
yeah.
So I guess we need to contact him.
well, he was supposed to come to us and tell us what programs are going on this summer.
Well, he did say he told us at some point that this was planned.
Yeah, because we were gonna go help cook,
We offered our
yeah.
help, our services.
I'm not gonna stay up.
Most of that activity is going to be in the town forest and not in the Barton parcel.
Good.
Yeah, I think I'll send him an email anyway and cite this, just letting him know so that he doesn't do any, so that he knows that he doesn't have free reign on activities in the town park, the Barton property.
Well, what I propose to do is take all your comments. I appreciate them. Again, I want to get a draft just to get really so we could have something to edit. And I'll try to put all of this together soon, maybe within a week, and get it back out to everybody.
Good.
So I just have a couple more things to throw out in front of the group. So we have consent if they're so inclined. The fourth sentence from the bottom says officials from the state. It says LCHIP and or CONCOM. I thought we should add the Conservation Land Stewardship Program because that's who Charlotte is with. So put their abbreviation for their group in there. And then I did have one last concern. The last sentence where it says we expect that you would let us know if you have any concerns or questions.
Encourage.
We expect that you would let us know if we ever violate your privacy or are discourteous. I don't know. Personally, I don't like the idea of bringing in conversation about violating your privacy.
I agree.
I don't like the idea, if we're on the Barton property and we're in their backyard and they say, well, you can see in my bathroom window, you know what, I'm being facetious.
I just say, believe me, I'm not looking.
Trying to see what kind of leads you.
Yeah, I just wanted to address, I believe it was Linda, Ernie and Linda, who had raised that concern that some gentleman was actually on their property, and this goes back a few years ago.
Yeah.
I just in some way wanted to let people know that, in the future we'll do our best to let them know that, when we're going to be surveying the land, mostly that's why I wanted to let them know.
I think that's better said than,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
that's a better statement than,
good.
Because with that, we were there when that transpired. Nobody was on Linda and Ernie's property.
Well, that was
We were-
several years ago.
No, that's.
Linda brought up an incident several years ago. She said some gentleman was
Yeah.
standing at the wall and kind of looking over their
Well-
property and then but I believe she said, and then even crossed the boundary wall.
Yeah.
I just wanted to let them know that that's
And he was from LG.
not our intent to
He
do.
was from the state. He was coming back for a.
Come on property uninvited.
It wasn't that.
Yeah, okay. I think if we just move forward with the language that
Yeah. You've indicated.
you've indicated and get rid of,
Yeah, again, let me know in email form all the things that Don did send an email, Gunther did. If I could get some of these other thoughts together, I'll rewrite the letter.
okay.
Mostly, the people who attended the meeting kind of felt like there was a heavy hand on them. I don't want this letter to be a wound in any way. I just want them to know that we took their concerns to heart. There were certain covenants and restrictions, and everybody's got to abide by them. And I just want the letter to have a fairly benign tone to it.
Well, I don't think it would hurt to say we took your concerns to heart.
Yeah.
The commission takes your concerns to heart.
All right, I'll start with that. Okay, great, thanks.
Okay.
Sometimes.
All right. Thanks very much for doing this,
Yeah,
Larry.
Larry. Yeah.
Appreciate it.
so Public Works is coming out?
Yeah.
What did we decide?
Yes.
Public Works is coming out.
Public Works is coming out.
It's going in.
He wants it in email.
So yeah, but we need to come to consensus on that. I don't know do we have consensus on it? Where is that again, Linda? Can you
Second paragraph.
point me to it?
Best way to
Third
protect the
line
structures.
down.
Report your concerns directly to the Public Works Department.
So,
Best way to protect your structures is to bring concerns directly to the Public Works Department.
Yeah, but then the next sentence got to be changed there somehow. Because we want the concerns to come to the Conservation Commission. The next sentence says the department can assess with you the hazards and options. You might want to say the Conservation Commission with the department.
I think it should be a joint effort,
Yeah.
personally.
They need to contact us, and then we will contact Public Works.
Is
So
everybody-
just let them know that, department can, say to the department, the Conservation Commission, along with the assistance of the Public Works Department, can assess your hazards.
And not to keep hashing this over, but it may be a tree big enough that Public Works cannot take down.
Right, but then that's up to them. If it needs to come down,
Well, it's-
if it needs to come down.
That's what I'm saying. You know,
And it's
there's a lot
incumbent
of
upon
things
them to
where-
figure out how to get it down.
Well,
It's not up to us.
out of it's in
I
the
said,
bottom
if
property.
it decided that it should come down, and it's bigger than they can handle, which was what you were making
Yeah.
a point, then it's up to them to figure out how to get it down.
Up to,
Public Works.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
because the town would have to hire somebody to come in and do it.
Right, exactly. So it should be,
I'm
I
just
think it should be a
saying,
joint
it's just-
effort.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I'm just saying, there's more going to be more communication and
Yeah,
So how does everybody feel about this? And I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, Linda. I'm just trying to come up with the best way to resolve this. So we end that sentence with directly to the Conservation Commission.
Correct.
Let's say the Conservation Commission will bring it to the attention of the Public Works Department. So we make the call to the Public Works Department, and then we jointly go out with, because one could talk to Todd and say, Todd, we want to come out and see what the issue is.
But do they need to know all that?
Who?
The Barton people.
No, I'm not saying, no, I'm saying we just put in here Conservation Commission instead of Public Works.
Don?
The Conservation Commission will
May I
contact
suggest
Public Works.
that I'll work on that wording? This was more than editorial. This was really a process discussion we were having. And I think the consensus is the process should be that concerns about conservation land trees being a hazard, those concerns should be coming to us. Is that right?
yeah.
Correct.
And you
With involvement of
Let me
Public
work out
Works.
the wording, and again, then we'll have something more to editorialize after that, okay?
Yeah, because we're not the ones that are going to take it
Something
down.
like,
But they don't need
bring
to
your
know that.
concerns
No,
to
I
us.
understand.
Yeah.
And next sentence would be, in concert with the Department of Public Works, we will assess the hazard. And,
I like that.
yeah, and that allows us to just continue on into the next sentence. I like that.
Yeah, I like that, Larry. Good.
Yeah.
all right, so let me just work with all those ideas, and it won't be a final draft again. I'll get another draft out. We'll finally get this draft right.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, are we done with that?
Mhm.
I don't know that we have anything more on the gravel pit other than what Larry mentioned. Did Christina say anything to you about the gravel pit? So that's going to have to be booted down to the next meeting.
Can I tell you what I did? A few things I did. I made a call to the New Hampshire Association and talked with Barbara Richter relative to logging in wetlands. I guess that's permissible. There's really no restriction on logging as long as the proper intent to cut and those sorts of things were filed with the town. I did say at the beginning that I didn't believe it was a soil scientist. I'm not sure, but I was only talking with a surveyor, and the surveyor said that he had marked out some wetlands. So even though I made a motion of changing last month's minutes, I honestly don't know if a soil scientist might have been part of it. But it was a surveyor who told me he had marked out wetlands. There are some flags out there, and it was where all those tall white pines were that were logged.
Yeah, it looks to me like they bracket the wetlands, the stumps, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and right through it. But, all she said from the Conservation Association was they only hope that when wetlands are logged, that it's done, say, in winter when
it's frozen.
ground is frozen, which that never happened this year. But, to minimize the impact on the forest floor. So I did talk with her a little bit. There are some RSAs about, and I'm going to look into those. She was going to send them along, RSAs regarding gravel pits. Anybody, I guess, can just truck out sand if it's being used and not sold. You can move your own sand from one lot to another lot. We don't know what's going on up in that sand pit or with all that excavation, but so and apparently as far as a surveyor from Meridian, I guess they're going to be working step by step with the landowner, Mr. Burrell, if it ever comes to filing a plan with the planning board for what will happen with the land. The surveyor so far knows of no plans right now for what will happen to that land.
All we can do is keep our ear to the ground, it sounds like.
Yeah, but I would like I don't know, let me throw this out. Should the commission send a letter to the planning board and with a copy to the board of select, or send it to the board with a copy to the planning board, just to ask if all the correct hoops were jumped through thus far? That being, that an intent to cut permit was filed and proper timber tax were paid, and more importantly, whether this gentleman came before the board, asking for a permit for a gravel pit, or if they're aware of what's going on up there. I mean, could we ask
It's a good idea,
formally
Larry.
the planning board if they know what's going on with that property?
Yeah, send it to the planning board, not.
Okay. But you are going to get a copy
Yes.
on the BOS, if, I don't know. I'd like to move that we draft a little letter, of some sort to the planning board, just to ask, these are some concerns we know about this lot, and, what do you know, is there,
Yeah.
is the excavation being done according to RSA and local ordinances, etc.?
Well, it sounds like we have a motion.
Well,
That you
before
brought forward.
I move that we send a letter requesting, the planning board just to tell us what they know about, what's going on up there.
Wait a
Okay.
second.
We have a second? All in favor?
Well, he's got to do the
Do we
Zoom.
want to discuss it?
No, I'm sorry.
We just did.
I mean, is it a good idea?
Yes.
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 I'm okay with this going down, but I'd like to know if the planning board or if anybody else is talking about this, what looks like a gravel pit.
I think it's a good idea to start the conversation, even if nothing's going on.
So now you got to poll everybody.
Yeah, so we'll start with Larry. Are you in favor?
Okay. Schissel, aye.
Linda, yes?
Ken, yes.
Don, yes.
Gunther, yes.
Barry, yes.
Okay, it's unanimous.
But I do
No
have
nays.
a comment if I'm allowed to.
Sure, absolutely.
I know we've talked a lot about this gravel pit. I think as a commission, we need to be careful to stay in our zone.
Mhm.
We don't want to get too far afield, and I'm not sure gravel pits fit under conservation.
I agree.
The wetlands did, but.
Wetlands,
I,
that's what we're here for.
I know.
But no,
Right.
I am concerned about overstepping.
Right.
Yeah. Well, things like timber tax, those aren't our purview.
No, but that's a good thing to ask. You know, I
Yeah,
mean,
but
it
that's
does
not-
relate directly to, it was cut, what was paid, what, you know, and I'm not sure the planning board would know what was paid, Paul would know what was paid.
But that's,
Anything.
is the timber tax really
No.
within our domain? I mean, that's what we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Staying within our lane. I agree with you on
Okay.
staying in our lane.
Don?
I would assume.
I think actually, I think gravel pits are in our domain because, number one, it is one of the things we're going to be, we've requested on our natural resources inventory.
Okay.
Number two, it gets to, excavation gets to a lot of concerns that we are very germane to us, like, are they excavating on a steep slope? Are they excavating in an area where runoff can impact the wetland?
Yeah,
I think excavation and gravel pits are very much in our purview.
Yeah, I was thinking of the
Much more than timber tax.
timber tax.
You
Yeah.
convinced me.
Yep,
Yeah.
very good.
Good point.
So we voted unanimously to move forward with a draft letter to be approved by the Conservation Commission. And are you going to write that, Larry? Is that what I heard? Is that what I heard?
I defer to the chair.
Or is Christina?
Is Christina. This is to be written to the planning board, correct?
Yeah, I would like to see a copy to the board to select, just so they're in the loop.
Yeah.
Does it need to be a formal letter, or can it be a memo?
I'm up for anything. I just, I don't know what the best way for boards to communicate and commissions to communicate.
Wouldn't the best way be if we showed up at one of the meetings and brought this up?
Yeah, maybe that would be it. Well, we
But I
are.
do believe putting it in the letter form would also be
Codify
good.
it. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So why don't you go ahead and draft something?
Me.
I thought we were going to have Christina do it.
Well, it's coming from the Conservation Commission, correct?
I'll draft something.
Okay.
Christina should get a letter too, because she's the one we should be asking.
We have.
I'll keep it,
I know.
but just for
That's
the
why she needs a
record,
letter.
we're going to keep it fairly simple. Just ask that we have concerns about the lot. I'll name it by lot and map, whatever, identify it, and it would be just that it looks like there's been a gravel operation going on there. There certainly was a cut in wetlands, and we just wonder, I guess, what the planning board knows. More or less.
And we want to make sure it's all in compliance with state and local regulations.
Yeah, okay.
Okay,
I'll do that. Sure.
Nice.
thank you. Are we on to the next item? We don't, so the forest management plan is going to have to be bumped to the next meeting, I guess. Route 10, we already addressed that, although I think that should be brought to the next meeting with Christina again, since she was asked to do something with it. The no dumping sign at Summer Street parking area, nothing has been done since the last meeting that I'm aware of.
Yep.
The signs are in. I think it's up to us. Let's see, what we have is Todd Cartier asked where the commission wants them. So I think it's up to us to go and decide where we want them. Kenny, you and I talked about going up there,
Yeah, and
and we haven't
headed
done
out
it.
of town the next day, so I'm sorry for that. And I will follow up with them down there.
Well, do you want to go up there and with a couple of us? Not enough people to have a meeting, but couple to put our minds together, and then
You wanna meet tomorrow morning?
I can't tomorrow morning.
All right,
I can Friday morning.
Friday morning, what time?
I don't know, does anybody want to come? Victor, you want to come with us?
Yeah, we got something going on Friday morning.
Yeah. Larry, where'd you go? We lost Larry again.
Oh, he's back.
Are you open Friday morning?
I'm sorry, I wasn't,
So we're talking about,
I was offline for a moment there.
okay, we're talking about the no dumping sign
Uh-huh.
at the Summer Street parking area.
Yeah.
Kenny and I would like to get one other volunteer to go up and help us make our minds up.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be available Friday morning.
3 of you would be a quorum.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
we can't do it.
Just the two of you, fine.
Two of
We're
us, I'll try.
we're 6, 4 is a quorum
Are we 6? 1, 2, 3, 4.
total.
Oh, yeah, 6. No. So, 4. You're okay.
So you can't go Friday?
I'll see if I can get highway too, so.
Okay. You want to send
I
us an
think we
email?
can- Huh?
Can you send us an email?
Send us an email.
You're going to try to get Todd to join us?
Sounds like join us.
I think that's a good idea.
So, I mean, we can make it, could we make a decision on where the signs go?
Yeah, yeah, you can.
I would-
Oh, are you asking the
I'm okay with
commission
it.
as to whether or not
Yeah.
we
I
get
mean,
the
Two
approval?
of us,
Yes.
so we don't need to come back.
That's
No.
fine.
No,
No.
just,
Larry, what Kenny asked was, can we get the board's consent to,
Just
Kenny
the
and
two
I
of us.
meet with Todd Cartier to make a decision as to where those go? I'd like to see this get laid to rest.
I, for one, would agree with anything that you and Kenny come up with.
Okay.
Yeah,
yeah,
good.
same here.
So I can't tomorrow morning, but I'm free
Yeah, no,
Friday
you
morning.
said that, yeah.
Yeah.
So what time?
9 o'clock? 9
9.
o'clock, good?
Yeah, meet you there.
Okay. Sounds good.
And I'll try to have somebody else.
Okay. Any further discussion on that? I guess we're on to new business. Quickly, I just want to jump down to report from the 6/13 planning board meeting. Gunter attended, and I think he has a
Yes.
couple of things he want to bring forth.
Yeah, Ken Merrow was acting chair that evening, and he had mentioned that for the next planning board meeting, they would be willing to set aside some time for speaking regarding the master plan. Biddy Irwin was present, and she spoke and said the historic district survey should be part of the master plan. It was part of the 1984-85 master plan, and I looked at the 2012 master plan. There was also some reference to historic resources. She also suggested that in preparing the master plan, the planning board may wish to put this out to bid. To,
They've so far said no
yeah.
to that
that
they're
was
going to
her-
write it themselves.
Yeah.
So we would encourage them to put it
Yeah.
out to bid.
Yeah, Christina did speak also that to date, over 10% of the population has responded to the community survey. And by the next meeting, she will, I guess, the goal is to compile the survey data. The deadline for the survey is June 30th. So by the time they have the next meeting, which I think, I'm not sure of the date, but she's looking to have the data compiled.
Good.
So we're pretty good.
And you asked the question if we could see the survey once the data is compiled. Is
Yes.
that correct?
Yes,
Do I
that
understand?
was, we'd like to have a copy of the survey data itself.
Okay. Is that it?
That's pretty much it.
Thank you for going.
Good.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It was pretty straightforward.
We want to start going to the zoning board. That's what we're going to do.
I don't know if anybody else is interested in attending the planning board meetings, but I don't know if Kenny or Linda are interested.
I got enough to get to these.
I'm just asking.
I would love to. I'm going to be like Barry now. Next June, I'm done because I can't fulfill that. I don't feel like I can fulfill my.
Okay. That's all right.
So, busy.
You don't have to quit just because I asked you.
No, I'm just saying, it's, you guys are regular retired.
Yeah.
Not retired.
I just didn't want to assume that you weren't. That was the vibe I was
No,
getting, but
no.
that's okay. So either Larry or I will go to the next meeting in July. Or we hope to, right, Larry?
Yeah, that'd be easier for me. August is probably August 8th, and that is getting into a tough time for me. So I'll try to get to next month's meeting.
Okay, great,
July
Larry.
11th.
Great.
I do have one announcement. Maura gave me a incorporating native plants into your landscape at Richards Free Library, July 12th.
That was a flyer on their door. I
Yeah.
asked for a copy.
So, what are you doing, Larry? Oh. Good.
Whoa, yeah.
Tying a shoe.
Want to make sure the public knows. So if the NCTV can see this, Wednesday, July 12th, 6 p.m.
Did they want input from us? What did they?
That, it was on the door, and I said, could I have a copy?
Okay.
If the Conservation Commission thought that it was important enough for the public, maybe it could go on their website.
It is.
Page.
I know.
I think it is.
No,
No.
we gotta have, we put on there. So who does that, Joanne?
Yeah.
You wanna ask?
Will you see her? You don't see her?
I can see her. I can, yeah.
Okay.
Nancy, that's
You want that?
that'd be great to go to. Do you want to see it? Or?
July 12th?
July 12th.
Yeah. I'll put it in my little old calendar.
Wednesday.
Sullivan County Extension has a huge list of native plantings. It's multiple pages of native plantings. If you need to check what's native.
No, thank you for bringing that forward.
Okay.
So the last item on our agenda, unless anybody wants to add anything else before I move on, are elections of officers. It's our time of the year to do that.
It's June.
Anybody have any nominations? Anybody want to run for office? I'm nominating Larry Shizzle for chairman.
Ooh,
Second.
That's only because I'm not there.
that'll
I
teach you.
can't pop you in the schnoz.
That'll teach you.
Okay.
You get a nomination as a second, so want to vote on it?
That's fine with me. Let's take a vote. Larry, are you voting for yourself?
I'll abstain.
Linda?
Yes.
Kenny?
Yes.
Don Shagan, yes.
I vote yes.
Yes.
Unanimous.
5 and 1 abstention.
Right.
Well, as they say in Hollywood, I'd like to thank the Academy, and I'd like to thank my agent and everybody who believed in me when I didn't believe in myself.
You forget to thank God.
Thank you, God. On that note, I have to get going. We got to hit the road. We're in Dover, and we're got to drive home tonight.
We have one more.
All right. Well, thank
No,
you.
I guess we
Wait
can
a
do it
minute.
without Larry, right?
The vice chair.
Vice chair we have to elect.
Okay.
Do you want to stay in position?
I'm happy to take vice chair.
Nope.
If anybody
Whoa.
else
Well,
wants
we
to,
lost you the last time, though.
I nominate Don Shagan for vice chair for the coming meeting.
Second.
okay, we take a vote. Larry?
Yay. Schissel. Yay.
Yes.
I'm in favor of myself.
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
You sure you want it, Don?
Sure, vice chair is
All right.
fine.
There you go.
And you
My grandmother
and
always
you
used to
didn't
say,
abstain.
vote for yourself, don't
I
be
didn't
stupid.
abstain. I'll abstain.
So for tonight's meeting, you would be chair.
Good night, everybody.
I'm
Good
chair.
night.
Until now.
Go safely.
Thanks, Larry.
Thank you.
If
Go
Larry's on
safely.
Zoom, you become the chair because you're present physically.
That's right.
Yeah.
If he's on Zoom, he cannot be
Yeah.
acting chair.
Is
Oh.
that right?
Okay. Right.
Yeah, he can.
You are the Zoom expert.
Well,
Well,
Well, like it or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
make a motion.
Move to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Done.
Aye.
Opposed?